All right, all right, all right. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to the Punk Rock Review. I've got an interesting little video for you, ladies and germs, today. So, way back in the day, we used to get our punk rock news in paper, in print. This is before the internet was a big deal, before smartphones, and I think probably a simpler time. Now, the Spin article that was interviewing NOFX, I read it and then I gave my commentary on it as I read the thing, and it did pretty well. People enjoyed that, so I thought, let me see if I can come up with another idea that's kind of similar, something that's still fun. And then I realized that I have a whole like cache of old magazines. When I bought that collection recently, and now I have probably like 10 or 12 magazines, but before. But when I bought that collection of CDs and records, shout out Kevin with Valhalla Cinema, who sold me this stuff, there was a bunch of copies of Amp magazine in one of the boxes. And I thought, you know what? It'd be kind of cool to like go back in time and read some of these magazine articles. And then I thought, you know what'd be even cooler than that? Doing that with my audience. So that's what we're going to do. 18 years ago, it was the summer of 2006, and NOFX were getting ready to release Wolves and Wolves clothing. They did Never Trust a Hippie, and that summer they landed the cover of Amp magazine. This is American Music Press, and this magazine was probably one of the top 2 or 3 magazines where you could get punk rock information, album reviews, things like that. It was either Amp, Alternative Press, and I think they had one called Loud Fast Rules is what it was called. That one might have been associated with Amp, actually. I can't really remember. But those are all great sources of information. And it's really kind of wild to go back and watch this stuff and see what people were talking about 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago. I've got the Lollapalooza 1996 magazine still. I may do a whole thing on this one of these days and read it and take images from it, like, take photos of the pictures and stuff and just make a whole thing. But if you look, there's a ad for Rancid that whenever they had And Out Come the Wolves was only not even a year old at this point. So cool stuff, man, that we can make interesting content out of, especially for the younger viewers that have no idea about the stuff. That they know what magazines are, of course, but like I don't think they've ever bought any, or if not, not many anyways. But who knows? Maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree and this will fall on his face and we'll move on to something else. But I'm trying to keep things fresh and have cool ideas and hang out with my homies on a Friday night instead of going out and getting in trouble. I don't go out and do stuff anymore. I'm old. I'm a homebody. So Bach, what's up, man? How you doing? Ryan, how you doing, buddy? So we're gonna read this. There's gonna be 2 parts. The first part is a straight up interview. And then the second part, the band asked each other questions. Now, I'm hoping I can get this done in a relatively short amount of time, as in not 3 hours, but who knows, man. Like the video, please. Subscribe to the channel. We just hit 7,100, so we're doing really, really well right now. I have some Jesse Michaels content up on the channel now. I was able to get the clip from him talking about the history of some of the Operation Ivy songs and some of the Doom Regulator stuff. And so, and then I also got some stuff from him talking about the Bay Area, early Berkeley, early, Bay Area punk, and the possible future for Operation Ivy. So check out those videos, please. Give them a like, share them, do whatever you can do to get those things, spread around. But what's up, Shane? How you doing? Box says, I used to see these magazines sold in the stores, but I've never bought one. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, dude. I mean, like, I used to live on these things. I used to be a manager at Hot Topic, and I had a store copy of Amp every time they came out, and I had it, and it got wore to death. There's some good copies of this floating around there too, man. This NoFX one's great. This is in decent enough shape. It's good enough for me to keep and flip through. But like, dude, look how much paper's in this. Like, that's a lot of stuff. And this is like, dude, this is the go-to magazine, man. I'm telling you, bro. There's tons and tons of stuff in here, man. And Amp would cover hardcore, metal, alternative, just everything that encompassed punk and punk adjacent, dude. Look at this. Big ass, give him the boot. Was that 4 or no 5? Give him the boot 5. That's so crazy to see this stuff. And to think that that's so old now. 18 years old, dude. Like on the cover of this one, you got Bigwig, Angels and Airwaves. That's back when they were not a big deal yet. Panic at the Disco, Bleeding Through, 18 Visions, Thursday. Of course, NOFX on the cover. Box says I was only 1 in 2006. That's crazy. I'm so old. Then you have also inside. It says None More Black, Reggie in the Full Effect, Ryan's Hope, Drag the River, These Arms Are Snakes, Angel City Outcasts, Yeah Yeah Yeahs, Against All Authority. Let's see, Riverboat Gamblers, The Methadones, Set Your Goals, Think I Care, Crime and Stereo, Less Than Jake, The St. Catharines. Dude, that's crazy, man. And you know what's awesome is the older I get, the more I learn about bands, the more bands I recognize in magazines like this. So these are great little time capsules to go back and revisit, you know, a summer from way back when. So we're going to do a lot of this kind of content. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you have any requests or magazines you want me to look up and find, or articles or bands you want me to look up and stuff, like, dude, this is a community. I'm down for at least getting ideas from people. If you're a Patreon member, then you will absolutely have a lot more input than an average viewer. So if you want to check out Patreon, go for it. If not, no worries. Yeah, I've got like a bunch of podcasts banked as well. Oh, dude, they got a whole interview with Less Than Jake in here. I may have to do a Less Than Jake one too. People really like that band. I dig Less Than Jake. They're good peoples too. Okay, let's get started. This is an article by Brett Matthews, by the way. So shout out to Brett Matthews. I don't know if this is still something that they do. I don't know if this is something you can find on the internet anywhere. But I didn't want to not give credit to the guy that did the article. Make sure and like the video, please. Please, please, please like the stream. If you want to share it, go for it. As a matter of fact, give me 1 second to finish up something real quick. And then we'll get this party started, okay? But, yeah. Let me know. Hey, did anybody on here watch the Jesse Michaels videos yet? If so, what'd you think? I'm very proud of those. That was a lot of work. It was kind of scary, if I'm honest with you. Let's see. Boom. Boom. What? That's crazy. That is crazy. So somebody already yanked my audio from one of my Jesse Michaels videos and put it up on Instagram as his own. He didn't take the video because I put a watermark on it, but he definitely took my audio. Straight up took it. Whatever. I mean, I don't care that he took it. I just wish he would have, like, in his little reel, I wish he'd have been like, yo, this is where I saw this at. Go check this channel out. Because he's got a huge following on Instagram. I don't want anything for it other than recognition. You can use my content. Just say it's from me so that you can help grow my channel with me. I would really appreciate that. But, you know, these people don't really care, I guess. Whatever, though, man. It is what it is, dude. You know, I've definitely borrowed from other... But see, like, with that thing what I did with, like, Tome's channel, how many times did I mention that was from Tome? Like, 20? Like a bunch, bro. So, whatever. Whatever. It's my United States of whatever. All right, I'm almost finished. I'm sorry this took so long. I'm trying to share this on the Book of Faces. Where did it go? That's not it. Let's go here. The Book of Faces. What's on your mind, Randall? All kinds of things, Facebook. What's on your mind? Oh, not a lot. Thinking about NOFX. Let's see. There we go. Dude, I'm a little curious as to what this article is going to say, because in 2006, they were a lot different people back then. Or, I don't know. I feel like this is going to be a very telling article. Okay, sorry about that. That took a lot longer than I intended to. My apologies. Let's see. What's up, Beaver? How you doing? Shane says, the Jesse Michaels vid was rad. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you, Beaver. Little kick ship. Watched both videos and dropped them both on popular ska group on Facebook. Let's go. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. I was cracking up about the last show flyer. Yeah, dude, that shit was funny. I was like kind of nervous during that whole thing, man. It was wild. All right, man. Let's get to talking NOFX from 2006, dude. This is so weird. Okay, so I'm going to read the little write-up at first because I want to give Brett Matthews his shine because he's the one that created this article. It says, anybody who follows this magazine on a regular basis and has for a few years now knows that my love and where I hold this band in the big picture of punk rock is no secret. They have been the most consistent, true punk rock band for the last 2 decades. Remember, this is from 2006. Leaving behind several dozen releases that will solidify their place and legacy for generations to come. Their newer EP, Never Trust a Hippie, and brand new full-length, Wolves in Wolves Clothing, fall right in place. That's so crazy to hear, dude. Let's see. Nintendo says this article will likely talk about Bush and the war on terrorism and their big world tour. Most likely. That's okay, though. With their sights looking past the problem of our government. That was funny. The focus of their last album, The War on Errorism, they take upon the root of the problem with these 2 releases. The fucking Christian right. God, I hate those fuckers. With this being, I mean, that's so silly. It's the people that represent Christians that I hate. Actual Christians I don't have a problem with. With this being my favorite thing they have done this side of the decline, I was excited to talk to Mike about the new record with the last night Mike spent in town before his current Euro tour. Tourcation, like tour vacation. Being a drunken blur ending in us babbling nonsense in a small room at the back of Stinky's Peep Show till 4 something in the morning. This interview had to be done via email. This is probably a good thing, though, for a couple of reasons. 1, the interview never ends as I talk to Mike forever, and we usually just run out of tape. 2, Mike usually gets himself in trouble by saying something that he really wants to say, but probably shouldn't, and at least this way, he gets to look at his answers. And then 3, look at the last interview I did with him. It was 18 pages. Transcribing that shit sucked. Bro, I can understand that would be just absolute ass. All right, without further ado, we will get into the meat and potatoes of 2006. NOFX. NOFX. So, this might be a little shorter than one would expect from me talking to my favorite band, but if you need more, like I said, the last interview... Okay, so cool. Dude, this guy says, without further ado, I give you some of the nicest guys you could ever hope to meet in the last of a dying breed, a real punk band, NOFX. I don't know how to feel about that. I think that they're a real punk band, but are they the nicest guys ever? That Spin article sure does. I mean, now, again, 18 years ago, right? So what do I know? So, says Brett Matthews, describe to me the setting of election night 04. If I recall it correctly, you were going to have a party and have 2 bowls of pills there, one for each possible outcome. They covered this in the Spin article as well. Beaver says, yeah, when Fat Mike gets going, he doesn't stop. I do the same thing. I talk a lot, if y'all haven't noticed before. There's a reason why I chose to do YouTube and not, like, paint. You know exactly what was in those bowls, Mike said. One had Valium and one had ecstasy. Funny thing is, both got used up. Just because we lost doesn't mean we weren't gonna ruin my... Just because we lost doesn't mean they were gonna ruin my party. That's a good point. You gotta have your party, Mike. Don't let it get ruined because of a bunch of fucking no good Republicans. What is the status of Punk Voter now? Are there plans for this year's House election? We got a booth on the Warped Tour again, and we're pretty much just going to give out voter information pamphlets on options to vote for in the midterm elections. It's not going to be an all-out assault like the last election. Probably a wise decision. You start, getting pushy and making people feel uncomfortable, you do more harm than good. So, maybe reel it in a little bit, and that's a wise choice, I think. So, how was it recording with Bill Stevenson of the Descendants and all, etc. fame, and what happened with Ryan Green. Recording with Bill and Jason is fucking awesome. Those guys rule. NOFX and Ryan had plenty of good years together, but he moved to Arizona and we wanted to work with Bill for a change. That's a good answer, and I think it's probably true. There's some, well, I mean, obviously, Homeboy moved, but moving, Bill Stevenson, bro, are you serious? I would love to just talk to that dude, much less work with him. There are some different guitar sounds on this record from anything I have ever heard you guys do. Tracks like Getting High on the Down Low and Benny Got Blowed Up seem more like the ESP guitars going through old Fender practice amps, as opposed to the traditional Les Paul through a Mesa or Marshall sound. Was this a Bill Stevenson influence? Actually, both those songs were recorded with Adam Kramer, and we used a Jazzmaster guitar going through a Sears amp. Bill did play the lead on Cool and Unusual Punishment, though. First I hated it, now I think it's the best thing on the record. That's a great song. Fuck, dude. Reading this stuff is crazy, man. Bill Stevenson's awesome. It's weird because, this is the interviewer, it's weird because so many bands that have the normal lifespan of a couple records in a few years find themselves changing styles a lot and saying that they are maturing and getting older and better as a band, even though the record that they are now calling a piece of their misguided childhood was released only 8 months prior and will soon be kept company by the record they are heralding now as the sound that they have always wanted. I think people get really nervous when they're creating music, especially when they're expected to have a certain level of success and they don't reach it, or they get a certain sound, they get pigeonholed, and then they come out with something new, and people don't like that. It's weird, right? But it does happen a lot. NOFX have stayed pretty consistent sound-wise for over 2 decades and a dozen records. I mean, it's not like the Pennywise thing where every record sounds exactly the same. Fletcher, please don't beat me up. I still love you guys a ton, but it's kind of true. But there is certainly a NOFX sound. Do you find it a comfort zone to write in that style, or have you ever wanted to voyage outside of it, but figured after 20 plus years of having a NOFX sound that it was just kind of weird to flip that on the kids? I never really wanted to stray from the sound we have, apart from the occasional jazz or reggae song, says Mike. I always thought you should try and find a style of music and perfect it with as many imperfections as possible, obviously. One of the reasons we got popular was because we did just that. All of our friends' bands started to go metal in the late 80s, and we stuck with punk. I reckon it paid off. That is a fantastic point. Consistency is important. I personally love the Pennywise sound, and I don't think that their albums get boring, but it's very subjective, and I've heard a lot of people on the other side of that argument, and, what am I going to say, that they're wrong? Yeah, kind of, but whatever. I love Pennywise. So then the interviewer says, but then I also noticed things like the bass line in songs like We March to the Beat of an Indifferent Drum, and even going back to The Decline, and that just blows my mind. Is that more you growing while staying in the structure of the NOFX sound? Granted, you have always had crazy bass parts, such as Runs Buried and Malachi Crunch, that most people never even noticed, but it seems like such a more solid structured, dare I say, jazz-ish bass line on some of these songs. I'm trying to read this carefully and not mess this up and make it miserable for you guys. So bear with me. If you have any suggestions, I'm all ears. Mike responds and says, you sure can ask a long question. I agree. I feel guilty that my answers are shorter than the questions, but here goes. Yes, jazz-ish would be correct. This record seems to be faster overall than all of your records since So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes. Do you agree? And if so, was there a reason behind this, or is it just how it all came together? That's a dumb question, because of course it just came together like that. I just wrote songs and we decided which ones we liked for the album. It's not too thought out. See? Told you. So, let's get in trouble together here. Talk to me about talk to me about the line, would you rather be fed bullshit from some 20-something makeup-wearing pop star from the song 60%? Ooh, we're getting spicy. Okay. See if he talks some shit about anybody in particular. He says, I'm just saying that a lot of these new bands, not all of them, just give the crowd exactly what they want. They say what they think they should say. Except that you should not offend anyone, because you might lose on some record sales. At least My Chemical Romance goes out on a limb sometimes and bums people out with their pro-queer stuff. I like that about them. People who don't like queers should be bummed out. Anyway, I want to see more singers like Jello Biafra and Lee Ving and Mark from Guttermouth. These guys know how to piss off a crowd. Yo, I so agree with that. I used to say stuff like, "We're crow's feet from Houston, Texas. Get high," and like throw drugs into the crowd. Terrible, influence on people, but it was a good time. Explain the meaning behind the song 60%, as I think that it is the great outlook on how you do things that make NOFX the band that you are. He just says, fuck the kids. Okay, hold on. Let me read that again. Explain the meaning behind the song 60%, as I think that it is the great outlook on how NOFX... Wait, what? Jeez Louise, this guy types... Yeah, dude, these questions would have driven me crazy if I was Mike. Even reading them on paper is fucking difficult. Explain the meaning behind the song 60%, as I think that is the great outlook on how you do things that make NOFX the band that you are. Good grief. He said, fuck the kids. I feel that. William said that's a dope opening. What's a dope opening? Okay. What does the title Wolves in Wolves Clothing mean to you? Mike responds, it's a metaphor for the USA. We used to do fucked up shit around the world and pretend that we were still the good guys. Yo, I never knew that that was the reason they called that album this. Now, we don't even hide it. We're gonna fuck you and there's nothing you can do about it. Just like the Romans did and the Germans. Where are they now? I don't know that we're quite that bad, but I honestly think we're doing a lot of really gnarly shit. And this is 20 years ago. Alright. Where the fuck is the rest of Instant Classic? The song that just fades out in the middle of the first verse. What's up with that? How did that come about? It was a nice touch getting the jab in at Bakersfield before the fade out, though. I never thought about that. What is up with that song? Throwing drugs into the crowd. Oh, yeah, dude. It was dope opening for me. I thought you were talking about the magazine. I'm such an idiot. Yeah, it was. Yeah, people got pretty upset by that. This is like 2003, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I was a fucking awesome idiot back then. Okay. So he says, what? There is no more. Oh. He asks him what's up with that song, Instant Classic, where it fades out. Mike's just like, what? There's no more. It's perfect at 30 seconds. We faded it because I don't think anybody has ever faded a 30-second song before. I figured it would annoy just about everyone. I think it worked too. What an asshole. Dude, Mike was a troll in 2006 when that shit wasn't cool yet. Oh, that's funny. And I'm reading this for the first time, so pardon the fuck-ups and stumblings. I really just kind of did this on a whim. The more I do this, the better I'll get at it. U.S. A-Holes is a quite poignant song dealing with our current situation here in the States and our wonderful Bush administration. This is one of the most frustrating things I've ever seen or had to deal with, and even just thinking about it makes my skin crawl. Your analogies of watching a car crash from inside the car and the Titanic with the iceberg are brilliant, and it seems quite unbelievable that there is nothing anybody is doing about this. Oh boy, if this guy could see into the future about, 18 years, he'd be shitting bricks, wouldn't he? Mike says, it's funny because there are a few kids out there that may have asked me why I'm singing about the Titanic. Stupid fucking kids. Do you have to spell out everything these days? Bro, again, see me in 2024. Did you pick up the St. Louis reference? I like that one. Pretty obscure, though. I don't know what he means by that. If anybody else knows what he's talking about, okay, let me reiterate here. The U.S. A-Hole song, he's talking about a St. Louis reference in it. I don't know what that means, so if you do, let me know in the comments, please. I would appreciate it. Was Doornails an ode to some of your friends who are no longer with us? Hard to write. Who was Jimmy, and why did you thank him for carpet? Jimmy from Strung Out. When I was not sure I wanted to sign them, Jimmy told me he would carpet my condo for free if I signed the band. So I did. Him and Jason Cruz drove down to San Francisco and put in carpet. Cool, huh? That is pretty fucking cool. Shout out to the boys from Strung Out. Not my favorite band, but that's a pretty cool way to get signed and a cool thing to do and say you're going to do and keep up your end of the deal. Let's see. So, who might have been the main lyrical motivation behind the one-celled creature? Some Canadian band, Propa something. Gandhi. Propa Gandhi. That's my guess. What's up with the art on the new album? We had a contest for worst album cover ever, and this was the winner. I love that cover because I love that color. Am I tripping? Does anybody else like that cover art? I think it's great. What's with the bonus track? Just me and my digital recorder hanging around the house coming up with song ideas. Those are some of the earliest ideas from the album. I thought it was kind of funny. Mike, you're an artist. You're a fucking artist, Mike. An artist. With a butt plug in. But still, an artist nonetheless. Bro, how bad would you hate to be that guy's butt plug? So, I know you have told me that it usually takes a good while for an album to sink in and have it truly find its self-ranking with you. Any early predictions on the ultimate judgment and placement of this album for you personally? Mike says, right now, I put it below Pumpkin Drublic, So Long and Thanks for All the Shoes, War on Errorism, and Decline. I reckon it's in our top 5 somewhere. I kind of like the Never Trust a Hippie EP more than the full length, though. That's weird. I don't. I like the full length better, but I like them both as a package deal personally. Also, in my personal, humble opinion, Wolves and Wolves Clothing is probably like a top 3 NOFX record. I would say it's Ribbed, Wolves and Wolves Clothing, and then Coaster. You can put Coaster and Wolves however you want. I also like War on Errorism pretty good. Let's see, what else do I really like? Oh, Pump Up the Volume, right over my shoulder here, is a fantastic record too. And then probably Pumpkin Drublic. That's their top 5 in my opinion. Dude says, I noticed that you always play a relatively cheap Dan Electro bass on tour. Do you use the same bass in the studio or something else? He says, I use it in the studio too. Those things cost $300 new, but they kind of rock. They're easy on the back as well. That's cool, man. I didn't know that. That's kind of the kind of information I think is relevant, man. Tell me about the stuff that you use in the studio, what you play on tour, especially if they match. Tell me why it's good. Give me a little inside info that it's not as heavy, it doesn't hurt your back as much. $300 for a good bass ain't bad. Now back then it was probably $300. Now I would imagine that same bass is at least $500, maybe more. Let's see. Did you retire Liza and Louise? And then he says, I hope so. Okay. And then he says, can we get Jefe to translate Cantado en Español, a song on the new album that's all in Spanish for us? From what I remember from living in New Mexico as a kid, I think there's some bad words in there. Maybe you could just give us the gist of it. Gist. Okay, he says. It basically says, after writing 235 songs, I'm all out of ideas for lyrics. So I ask Jefe to sing in Spanish and sing a nice melody. And no one will know what we're singing about. Anyway, and if they do, they can go fuck their mothers. Well, Michael, that's not nice. War on Errorism was my introduction to NOFX, says William Dean. Not a bad record. Beaver says, still 500 isn't bad for a good bass. See, I don't even know. I haven't bought an instrument in a long time. Is that a good price? Because I can't imagine paying that much money for like a floor model, like bassline instrument. Mike says, gist. Okay, basically it says after, oh wait, already read that part. Man, this is the best thing about live streams is like you get all the mess ups. So you guys did a video for Seeing Double at the Triple Rock, which is brilliant, by the way. This is the first proper video you have done since White Trash. What was the reason for making it? And what was the inspiration for the content? Mike replies, we really hadn't planned on doing a video. Then one day I thought of the idea of Jesus at a punk show, and that was it. If NOFX were going to make a video, this would be just tasteless enough. Seriously though, Jesus seems like the kind of guy who would hang out and turn water into wine and get gnarly at a punk show. Even though he's a hippie, He's still a Jew, and Jews like to party. Quite possibly. Nintendo says, all their music grows. I think double and single album were a great way to go out. On first listens, I was kind of like, I don't know. But I thought War and Errorism was okay back in the day. But the more listens, the better it got. You're not wrong about that. But I think that single and double album are not good records, personally. But in all fairness, I've only listened to them a couple times a piece. And you made a solid point. I should listen to them more, probably. Okay. So, you now have the addition of Darla to the family. How has having a kid affected your life and your outlook on it? Mike says, I don't party so much as I used to, and I like being home more. It's pretty great having a kid, aside from the fact that this world is going to be pretty fucked when she gets older. As far as being a role model, I reckon I'm a pretty good one, aside from the drugs and tattoos. Man, he missed the mark on that one. This dude's a terrible fucking role model, but, whatever. Yeah, I'm pretty worried about the world in the next few years, too. My oldest is 11, and it scares the shit out of me thinking about what's going to be happening in 2030, 2035, 2040. 2040, I'll be 58 years old. That's weird. That is weird. Okay. Does it seem kind of odd to you that kids wouldn't sign up for the NOFX 7-inch of the month club last year, but will now pay upwards of $100 per record on eBay for them? Mike says, I did not know that. Shit, I better join eBay. Nintendo says, I thought single and double were not good too. Wait, are you saying that you did and you still think they're not good, or that you think they're good now? Sincerely, and I think they're masterpieces now. Masterpieces? Bro, stop it. Come on. Come on, bro. Like, I can't take that kind of shit seriously. Masterpieces? Fucking come on. That's wild. That is wild. What was the inspiration for the 7-inch of the month club? I got the idea after hearing an old Stiff Little Finger 7-inch. It had early versions of songs off inflammable material, and I just thought it was really cool to have 7-inches out there with different versions of the songs. The Half album was lazy, but that's okay. It'll grow on me too. I've only listened to it a couple times. You're out of your fucking masterpieces. Stop it. The dude says, how does it come about that you would find yourself wearing nothing but bra and panties playing a show to a packed house in Chicago? That's a fantastic question. I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you. Let's just say that I have a drinking and gambling problem. And a cocaine problem. The first couple of installments of the Fat Podcast have been hysterical. How did that come about, and do you enjoy doing those? He says, I'm glad you like them. I feel they're pretty mediocre, but getting better as we go. Gotta stay hip with the new technology, right? No, you don't. What are your thoughts on Against Me signing to a major label? It would be nice to see how far a band like that could go without the corporate support, but it would also be nice to see a band with those punk ethos and ideas be able to infiltrate the mainstream and give the kids an idea of what punk is really about. The shitty part is we can't do both simultaneously. Well, no, you're right. That makes sense. I was bummed as their record label owner, but I don't care when bands sign to majors. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. I wish the best for them. That is a very mature answer from Fat Mike. I did not expect that. I love Against Me. They're a top 5 band for me. I love them, I love them, I love them. And I want to see them play live again. Beautiful Planet says, I know this is random as hell, but Barry Ward of RKL, etc. has been on eBay since 1999. No shit. He's been selling really cool extra junk from his collection and music stuff. They're all this time. That's crazy. Nintendo says, yes, single and double album. They're fucking great records. Yes, fucking great records and masterpieces aren't the same thing, though. Like, that's why I was so irritated by what you said, but whatever, though. Ted says, the Fat Podcast. Wow, that's a callback from him and Floyd used to do the show together. Word up. Look, I'm not going to comment on whether or not their albums are good at this point. I didn't care for them much, but I haven't listened to them in a while. But to say that they're masterpieces, and then when I go, what? Then you go, yeah, they're great records. That doesn't mean the same thing to me. What is your guys' thoughts on Double Platinum? We'll talk about Lagwagon at another time. That's my thoughts on it. Let's see. What were your conversations with Against Me like when they were trying to figure out where their third full-length should come out, which ended up being Searching for a Form of Clarity, released on Fat Records? They were late-night alcohol and drug-induced conversations, just like the one we had the other night, Brett. Just like the one we had the other night, Brett. That's funny. All right. Dick question on my part. Who are your favorite of the new bands you have signed, and why? He says, you know I can't answer that, you son of a bitch. You do really fucking dig the Western Addiction album, though. That's my favorite this year. Wait, hold on. Western Addiction. Who did that album? Please, I know I'm doing a terrible job, but if you wouldn't mind giving the stream a like, I would appreciate it a lot. Help us get out to more people. Help us infiltrate ear holes. Help us get out to more people. There's 20 watching and only 8 likes. I don't know. I know y'all don't really care. What was it called again? Western Addiction. Oh, that's the band name. Okay. 2006 album from them. I'll have to give that a listen later. I don't like Lagwagon that much. I don't know why. I just to let you know, Ryan, they're not bad. I just don't find myself listening to them very often. Nintendo says they're pretty damn masterful. They're going to age into top tier for NOFX punk in this era. Bro, you're just trying to say some fucking hot take shit. Stop it. Refused Resist says Western Addiction had the guitars for Dead to Me. Oh, that's dope. That's a fucking good band too. Let's see. All right, a little teaser for the kids. You guys are in the studio now recording a new Gimme Gimme's record. Are we talking about the theme yet, or is that still under wraps? Any words for the kids on what they should expect? He says, this time we're covering both kinds of music, country and western. We recorded 19 songs and now have to figure out which 7 to drop. All I know so far is that Ghost Riders is going to make the cut for sure. That's awesome. The album he's talking about is called Cognicide. I will check that out. I will listen to that tonight. Hold on. Dude, thank you. I love doing this kind of stuff. This has been fun. Even arguing with Nintendo is fun. I don't care if he likes those albums that much. I think he's wrong, but whatever. He probably thinks I'm wrong. Oh, there it is. Boom. 2005. All right. Gonna listen to that later. You know what? I think I got a copy of that in that collection. That's awesome. Okay. We're almost done with the first part, and then we'll move over to the band asking the band questions. This is moving along pretty quick. This is faster than the Spin article was. Ted says, love their country. Definitely one of their best records. We are diva and mind-blowing. Wait, hold on. Love their country. Definitely one of the best. I don't know what the fuck that means. Let's see. You guys are doing Warped again this year. I know a few years ago you told me that you loved it, and it was a sort of punk rock summer camp. Your life situation is different now, and I would venture to say Warped is quite different now as well, with the influx of those same aforementioned 20-year-old makeup-wearing pop stars, and the abundance of Taco Bell and Sony banners draped all over everything. Are you still just as stoked? Great question. Mike says, yep, still stoked. I don't care what banners are hanging as long as they're not army banners. Corporate dollars make the Warped tour possible. There's no way all those bands could play. There's no way all those bands could play it at a $25 door price. There's still no headlines and no bands get special treatment. Well, not many anyways. Hey, if I was a kid, I probably wouldn't go, but it sure is fun to play. What a dumbass. Let's see. Nintendo says, Mike has mastered this new way of just writing and not going to a chorus. Then there's bridges and pre-choruses that only happen once and new parts that just go on to the next. Yeah, I don't like that. That's too... It sounds like pretentious jazz music to me. But that's not my kind of thing. I don't like that. But Mike clearly likes jazz. He's even mentioned it in this article. Refused Resist says, he's talking about Gimme Gimme's album. I agree, Love Their Country is the best produced album of theirs. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I don't listen to Me First and Gimme Gimme's like that. My wife does, though. I just didn't know what you meant. Okay. Let's see. Are y'all done?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a few minutes. It's gonna take me a few more minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you use the bathroom?
Yeah, I don't care. Okay, sorry. Wife's coming in here to shit on me and fucking... Not literally. That's gross, guys. Get your mind out of the gutter. No, she's just gonna go change clothes. It's like late and shit. I'm in the master bedroom where we bait. Yeah, let's see. Nintendo says, I'd say listen to them back to back. When I first heard them, I thought, what a letdown and shitty way to end the band. Well, I mean, I did a ranking video not too long ago with my buddy Rob, and I couldn't hardly make it through those records. I didn't like them at all. But I will give them another listen. I will give them another listen here real soon, just so that I can tell you, yeah, I listened to them and they still suck. So, I'm kidding. They might turn out to be great. I don't know. Let's see. So tell me about the band intervention with you. Tell me about the band intervention with you after the Boston show. Well, I was drinking too much, and my band told me to quit drinking so much, so I stopped drinking so much. What is too much, you ask? 4 vodka martinis before we hit the stage is too much. Then add 2 more while on stage, and that's a mess. Add a Valium, and that was the Boston show. Ouch. Yeah, that's not what he was doing, but sure. Yeah, I know you've established that you've changed your mind after many listens. That happens sometimes, but whatever. NOFX has 2 more albums, one next month and one next year. That's what I was hearing. Ted. So, this is the last question, by the way. Or no, yeah, okay, sort of. So, what are the next few steps for NOFX? Obviously, tour on this record, but are there any weird things on your mind, like a picture disc of the month club, or writing a 37-minute song, or anything out of the norm? You guys are hitting up Iceland on this tour, right? Mike says, the next NOFX project is finishing our DVD. We're going to play all over the world next year in countries that we don't sell hardly any records in. South and Central America, South Africa, Eastern Europe, Israel, and a bunch of Asia. Should be a real nightmare, but it just might make an interesting DVD. That's Backstage Passport. That's fucking rad to hear him talk about it before it even came about. And then the guy says, any last words? And then Mike says, Eric Melvin is ticklish. That's fucking silly. Okay, I'm going to check out your comments real quick. We're going to go back. We're going to read this last part. This is the band talking to the band. This shouldn't take very long. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you guys for hanging out. Refuse says, if I remember, the Boston show incident was him getting in trouble for doing blow on stage. That's what I thought was happening. I thought the exact same thing. What's up, JJ? How you doing, bro? Nintendo says, next month, though? Really? I haven't heard that. I thought a new album would be maybe like 12, 18 months out. No. I heard it was coming up like real soon. I heard exactly what he said. I heard it was coming out in like 6 to 8 weeks, and then a new one in like 6 to 8 months. Like, I think that's the actual terminology they used where I heard it. Now, I mean, none of us are NOFX, so I guess none of us actually know, but that's what I was hearing. Yo, is this kind of a fun little like podcast for you guys? You like this? Is this a good time? I'm having a good time. Single person podcasts are kind of hard to figure out, but this is cool, man. All right, an interband interview with Eric Melvin, guitar shredder, accordion enthusiast, owner of the Mel Yell, and certainly one of the best guys you will ever meet. Smelly's questions for Melvin. Smelly asks, is punk rock a way of life or just a type of music? And then Melvin says, I think it's both, but people who are drawn to the way of life are those on the fringe of society. Something's wrong with them. They're not quite normal. They have something that sets them apart from the general population. The music is the soundtrack. The music is the soundtrack that reflects this and is for anyone to enjoy. But the lifestyle isn't just for anybody. That's a fucking great answer to that question, dude. Shit, man. Nintendo says, yeah, damn, that's cool. I just hadn't heard it. Where'd y'all hear that? I can't remember. I might have been Fat Mike talking about it, actually. But I can't remember, to be honest with you. And as far as I'm concerned, it's just speculation. I don't actually have an answer if that's actually going to happen or not. Ted says 2 albums. One's called NOFX A to Z. Everyone is insane but me. That's a weird title. After a single album, I heard Mike say they had 3 albums in the can, and then when half album dropped, I figured that probably wasn't happening. No, I mean He's pretty good about doing what he says he's going to do outside of like quitting drugs. Okay, so since you are the highest ranking member of the Boy Scouts and Eagle Scout, how have you used those skills? And then Melvin says, there was stuff I used to do more in our early touring days, like reading maps, wilderness survival, and shooting a bow and arrow that did me a lot of good. I also learned to organize projects on the way to becoming an Eagle Scout, but that's a skill I quickly lost again. Do you think you will ever cut off your dreads, or are they a part of your identity? It's really just the best hairstyle I can imagine. I rarely wash it, never brush it. I can color it, whatever, and some mornings it's still asleep even after I've woken up. I never think about it much. And anyway, I'm pretty slow to change some things. Besides, you remember what my head looks like shaved? It's like something from the movie Alien. At least he understands how he looks. What do you think you would be doing if there were ever... Or excuse me, what do you think you would be doing if there were never NOFX? I hope that I would have been in some other active band. If music hadn't been completely out of the question, maybe I could have been some faulty social worker or counselor for people with issues I could identify with. Ha! What do you see yourself doing in 25 years? That is only 7 years from now. Hopefully, I'll be a better accordion player, better at a lot of things. Really, golf, ice hockey, maybe guitar. Answering more questions for sure. That's hilarious. All right, now we have El Jefe's questions for Melvin. How often do you wash your hair? Once every 3 weeks or so. If we've been playing lots of shows in a row, I have to wash it more often because it gets stinky. Ugh. Who showers the most? I think you do, Jefe. I totally agree with that without even knowing the answer. Let's see here. Ted says, during COVID, Fat Mike did a lot of interviews, especially on Twitch. I remember saying NoFX A to Z. Huh. I didn't do anything on, I hate Twitch. I'm an old guy. Okay. Who showers the least? Jefe asks Melvin. Mike showers the least of anybody I have ever known in my life. He also rarely brushes his teeth. None of that surprises me. Can you imagine? Never mind. I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to get this video in trouble. Does anyone in the band have any side projects? I think you do, Jefe. El Jefe is on his way to becoming a rich and famous hip-hop producer. Mike is in kind of a cover band, and I'm in kind of a cover band too. Smelly pretends to ride motorcycles, but I've seen them. They're little mini bikes. That's pretty funny. What's it like being Jewish? That is a funny-ass question. It's awesome. It's too bad about that Jesus guy, though. We're not supposed to eat milk with meat. Can you imagine? That means no cheese or sour cream on my carne asada burrito. Ooh, I never thought about that. That's where that would come into play. No queso e fresco, no crema on your tacos? What the fuck? There is an upside, though. I bet you didn't know this, but every Jewish person is psychic and can read other Jewish people's thoughts. I gotta become Jewish, bro. That sounds awesome. Let's see. JJ says, I thought they were pop punk, not folk or... Who are you talking about? JJ, who are you talking about? Ted says, what year is this article from? 2006, sir. Right about the time of Wolves in Wolves Clothing. All right. Fat Mike's question for Melvin. Tell us about your first sexual encounter. Of course, that's what he's fucking asking him. I was 15. She was 25. Ooh, if I had a whistle. It was at a family function in the next door neighbor's backyard. At a family function? You from fucking Alabama, bro? What are we doing? That's crazy. It lasted less than 5 minutes, and I never saw her again. Sure, buddy. It's your sister, buddy. You see her all the time. What are you doing? Why were you attacked in high school? I shaved my head when I was a young punker, and this Israeli guy who was a member of the JDL thought I was a skinhead. He grabbed me by my throat and said, fucking skinhead, I'm going to beat your ass. I said I wasn't a skinhead. I'm Jewish, actually. And he said, prove it. I recited a bunch of Jewish stuff. The Jewish blessing over the bread in a single breath. Then he let me go. That's funny, bro. Me First and the Gimme Gimmes is a cover band. LOL, not NOFX. Facts. Oh, the no shower thing is what you were talking about. That went right over my head, JJ. My bad, brother. Okay. Why were you attacked on your paper route? 3 Mexican kids from the other side of Melrose Avenue jumped me and stole my bike while I was on my paper route. That's unfortunate. Why were you attacked in Amsterdam? Jeez, dude. Melvin gets attacked a lot. I'm some kind of attack magnet, I guess. Limo and I were walking around at night with our girlfriends at the time during the World Cup of Soccer, which Holland was playing in at the time. Some hooligans started fucking with us, and we kind of blew them off and kept walking. Then one guy ran up behind me and grabbed me and started saying shit in Dutch, which I translated in my head as, I'm gonna throw you in this fucking canal, asshole. So I grabbed his shoulders and tore his shirt down around his arms so he couldn't grab me anymore. Then everyone tried to hit me, but Limo had my back and he clocked one guy, and then we ran towards this bar trying to protect our girls from these pricks. I grabbed some beer glasses and started throwing them at him, and these fucking guys, I could hear the bartender saying, "Oh, not my glasses." Fuck, dude. We're 2 guys and 2 girls being attacked by 8 dudes, you ass. I broke this one glass on the edge of the table and held it in my hand, barroom brawl style, and I swear I would have cut somebody's throat open, but to this day, I'm sure glad I didn't. It pretty much ended there, and for a few days after, Limo had some of the worst of the bruises and cuts on his legs. I had a few bruises, but we were really okay, actually. Then he asks, have you ever taken any acrobatics classes? If so, what kind? That's a weird question. He must know the answer to that. He says, for about 8 weeks, I went to Chinese acrobatics classes and learned to do back handsprings and walk on my hands, but I had to stop because my shoulders hurt most of the time. That's ridiculous. All right, moving on. Eric Sandin's questions for El Jefe. Let's see here. Ted says, dude living in LA in the 70s, 80s had to be a nightmare. He lived up in San Francisco Bay Area. Oh, wow. They go way back with Limo. I don't know who Limo is, do I? I don't think so. Not off the top of my head. Eric's questions for Jefe. What's your take on the current immigration issue? No Mexicans equals no burritos. Think about it, America. I agree. Rumor has it that you once tried to get a blowjob from a quadriplegic transvestite. Any truth to that? Jefe says, no, it never happened. There was a club called Dog Patch Winos, and they tried to get me to join, but I didn't do it. That's awesome. How has you... Wait. How has you taking ballet and interpretive jazz dance lessons furthered your career? I never had ballet. I had contemporary jazz. I believe it has helped my stage performance, though. That's funny. Since you were a guardian angel, do you think they play an important role in today's society? Jefe says, guardian who? That was a long time ago. I haven't heard of them in years. These guys are fucking idiots. I love it. Last question that he asks is, what do you think you would do? What do you think you would be doing if you weren't in NOFX? He said mowing lawns. That's absurd. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna rewind. Last question from Eric Sandins to Jefe. What do you think you would be doing if you weren't in NOFX? Jefe says, mowing lawns, probably. That's crazy. Melvin's questions for Jefe. At what age did you start playing guitar? How often did you practice? I started at 16. I practiced every day for like 5 or 6 hours a day. God damn. What do you do in your time off to stay in shape for the stage? Step aerobics, bike class, running, and lifting weights. I feel so lazy listening to these guys talk, dude. If you could create your own cartoon, what would it be? Duck Dodgers? Wait, what is that? Is that a thing? Duck Dodgers. I don't know what the fuck that is. If you had to choose to eat only one food the rest of your life, what would it be? My man says pizza. Word. What would you say to help somebody who doesn't understand your sense of humor? And he says, just kidding. That's hilarious. Fat Mike's questions for El Jefe. How many friends do you have on MySpace? Bro, that just blew my mind. His answer is over 12,000, which also blows my mind. How many people did you grow up with in your house, and how many rooms were there? 5 people, 3 bedrooms, but I turned the garage into a bedroom for me and Mark Curry. That's awesome. Why do Mexicans have so many kids? I guess because they don't believe in birth control, says Jefe. Have you ever slept with a black woman? Jefe says no. Then Mike asks, whatever happened to your first wife? Jefe says, she is a lesbian. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, we're wrapping things up here, folks. Fat Mike's questions to Smelly. How many days have you been sober? Smelly says 4,993 and counting. Dude, congratulations, Smelly, if you're still doing that. I think you are. I'm fucking happy for you, man. I'm proud of you, buddy. Have you ever broken anybody's toes or fingers? No, not me, just my associates. That's scary, man. Okay, why did you hit a guy in the head with a huge monkey wrench? And then Smelly says, this dude kept fucking with me. He deserved it. Plus, he was bigger than me and probably would have kicked my ass. That's a good point. If you're going to get your ass kicked, hit him with a monkey wrench. I fully back that. Ted says, Jefe met his first wife on MySpace. It's pathetic the amount of information I know about NOFX. I wouldn't call it pathetic, but it is pretty funny. Okay. What's worse, LSD hangover or motorcycle concussion? Oh, geez, dude, the concussion for sure. Seeing stars is definitely better on LSD. Not far from being them. Ever suddenly find anything in your hair? Are you referring to Amsterdam when I passed out in the gutter and used a fresh pile of dog shit as a pillow? Ugh. Well, at least it was smushy and not like a rock or something, I guess, right? Unless they had like a very low fiber diet and it was just a big hard poop. Then it would be pretty uncomfortable to sleep on. All right. Melvin asks a couple questions to Smelly. What's your favorite meal you make for yourself when you're at home? Smelly says peanut butter and jellies. Of course he does. What's your favorite sport? Do you watch it or participate in it? It's a toss-up. Either motocross, surfing, and yes, I do both. You always seem to get along great with kids. Why do you think that is? Melvin's asking. Smelly says, the doctor says it's because of my mental capacity, whatever that means. A touch of the Shane Gillis, maybe? Some people drink too much. Some people eat too much, work too much, or watch too much TV. Where do you draw the line between a hobby and a habit? Well, that's a fucking weird question, man. When your life becomes unmanageable from your hobby. Okay, cool. Give some examples of A, a hobby, and he says cross-dressing. B, a bad hobby, cooking meth, he says. C, a good habit. Wiping front to back, he says. Not a bad recommendation there. And then he says D, a bad habit. He says cruising high schools in your late 30s. Oh, shit. Fucking McConaughey, dude. What? Oh, no. Jefe's questions for Eric Melvin. Who has the most pets? 4 dogs, 1 cat, 27 fish. I win. Do you guys eat meat? And he says only veal. What do you think of the current state of punk rock? And he says embarrassing. In 2006, I don't know if I'd say embarrassing, but it definitely wasn't at like a high point. What do you think about all the new emo bands on Warped Tour? And then Eric says, we'll be seeing a lot of those bands in a few years. Where are they now show on VH1? Just like ska and rap metal. That's not very fair to ska. All right. I think this is the last page. Okay, we're getting to the end of it here. Thank you guys for hanging out for so long. This is fun. I'm having a great time. I'm going to do more of these. It's just a good time. Smelly's questions for Mike. Have you ever got into a fist fight with a band member's girlfriend? He says, actually, I did. It was 1984, and Eric Melvin's girlfriend spit in my face. I really didn't appreciate that too much. I wouldn't really call it a fist fight, though. She punched me a few times and then started pulling my devil lock. So I hit her in the kidney and scratched her face with my nails. She screamed and let go of my hair. I guess it was more of a cat fight than anything. Funny thing was, Melvin didn't really do anything to break it up. He just kind of stood there. That is so... Mike would be in a cat fight. I like seeing all this information about Mike come out, that now that we know all the stuff we now know about him, so many things that he said back then makes way more sense knowing his, extracurricular activities right now. Beaver says, around that time, the punk scene was dying here in Denver. A lot were turning into skinheads. Yeah. He has what, Ted? Okay. Since you make it no secret that you are rich, have you ever paid anyone money to do something stupid for your amusement? Examples, please. I'm not rich, and I've done that. It's fun. Nothing funnier on tour than making the opening band eat stuff for our amusement. And no better band than the Teen Idols to whore themselves out for a few bucks. In Greece one night, I paid Phil $100 to eat a very large jar of mayonnaise. Oh, God. He did it no problem, but threw it all up in a bowl. Ugh. Then Heather, this is not bullshit, I swear, put her hand in the bowl of puke and slurped it up. Ugh. She fucking slurped it up, and I didn't even pay her anything. She's just that punk rock. Then I gave Keith $100 to eat 12 eggs. He ate 10 and washed them down with Jack Daniels. Then he puked all that up once again, Heather slurped it. Ugh. Pretty fucking good entertainment for $200. Beats the shit out of some old ruins. Dude, that's crazy. Oh, he fought fought a member's girlfriend. That is disgusting, isn't it, JJ? What do you think you would have been doing if there had never been NOFX or Fat Records? He says, easy. I would either be a real estate agent or a sex therapist. I actually have a degree in both of those things. Well, the real estate license expired a long time ago. That's wild. How did you discover punk rock? Smiley's asking Mike. Mike says, the first punk rock song I ever heard was at summer camp in 1978. Joe from the Vandals was a junior counselor there, and he played Beat on the Brat by the Ramones at the dance. He also played Who Killed Bambi by the Sex Pistols. That was the first time I heard it. The first time I saw it was an X show at the Whiskey in 1981, and I was hooked. That's amazing to know that. What's the longest you've gone without a shower? The first NOFX tour... What's the longest you've ever gone without taking a shower? Smelly asks Fat Mike. Fat Mike then says, the first NOFX European tour was in 1988, was 6 weeks long. I had one shower 3 days before the tour ended. Oh, that's rough. That is disgusting. Beaver says, I knew a girl back in the day like that. Her name was Heather. Did not let her anywhere near me. I knew a few punk rock chicks that would embarrass me. Okay. Hefe's questions for Fat Mike. Who is the most likely to get naked on stage? Mike says, me. Whose farts smell the worst? Mike says, smelly, of course. Who farts the most? Also, smelly. Who has the most unusual sex life? That's a big me, says Fat Mike. Who does the most drugs? Hey, one for Melvin. Dude, no way. There's no way that's true, even back then. I don't believe it. Melvin's questions for Mike. Would you call yourself a good or a bad father, and why? He says, I think I'm a great father, mainly because I don't want a day to go by when I can't hang out with my daughter. She makes me want to be a better person, and one day, maybe I will be. That's amazing. Good for you, Mike. What would you say to your daughter now, assuming that she could understand, that you wish someone had told you when you were her age? I would tell her to quit touching herself so much. It's not ladylike. This fucking guy. When you're going to bed at night, what kind of thoughts keep you up? Well, since I started taking Somonex, not many thoughts keep me up. But I started taking sleeping pills because of dealing with the worst president of all time, 30 or so bands I got to try to keep happy, well of lyrics drying up. That is my liver hurting or just gas. How the fuck is Lost gonna end? And why does Avenged Sevenfold think the war in Iraq was a good thing? Huh. That's an interesting one. In some of your lyrics, you've referred to pride as being bad. Isn't there something you can be proud of? You can have pride in anything you've accomplished. You just shouldn't have pride in something you were born with, or what country you were born in, or what sports team is located closest to you, or what faith you have. I don't know about the faith thing, but all the other shit makes sense to me. Name a trait you like to see in other people. Last question. Mike says, I guess the two most important traits for me would be straight hair and humbleness. Most Japanese people got it all. Bam! That, my friends, was the cover story on AMP Magazine number 21 from the summer of 2006, right around the time of the release of Wolves and Wolves Clothing. This is a dead medium, but I'm bringing it back. So let me know if you're interested in this. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Please like these videos, subscribe to the channel. Thank you to my Patreon members. Check out my JC Michaels stuff. I got more coming. I'm going to keep things rocking and rolling, dude. This channel's going to rule, dude. I think I might do the... oh, shit. There's an Against All Authority thing in here. How long is this? It is pretty short. I might do the Against All Authority one like tomorrow or something. It's like just 2 pages. I could do that one pretty quick. That's awesome, dude. Hell yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, man. I had a blast doing this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you guys think I should edit it? Should I chop it up? Maybe pull out some of my mess ups and put some NOFX imagery up? What do you think? Let me know in the comments, please. All right. I'm out of here. Have a great